Welcome to the new perspective of healing.
In HealthWorks, forget the mouthwash. How about a gargle with some oil? It's an ancient holistic cleansing method that's getting renewed attention. Does it work?
Teeth are the only exposed bones in the body. And just as if a bone breaks, it'll heal, teeth, which are the only exposed bone in our body, can heal. And they should not be deteriorating. And if they do have a little decay, they have the ability to heal themselves, as every other body tissue does. So why aren't they healing?
I've heard people say this all the time that, I have sensitive teeth. If you have sensitive teeth, more often have a thin layer of an enamel that's been eaten away by either plaque and bacteria, a combination of plaque and bacteria, which is causing the teeth to be more sensitive. Now let's talk about what gum disease is also linked to, because quite often when we look at our health, we're thinking about it in compartments. We don't think about how when our gum health is affected, what other areas will that affect? We don't think about how this major issue could be caused by a much simpler, in our mind, issue as it relates to gum disease. So gum disease is linked to 2 to 3 times risk when it comes to heart disease and stroke. And I know you're thinking like, how could this be connected? But it's so important that you realize that this body is a symphony. Everything works together, even though we're taught about it in compartments. There's nothing separated in our bodies.
Okay, picture this. You're holding a spoonful of oil in your hand. Now, let me ask you, why on earth would you want to gargle with it? Seriously.
Stand by. We're about to swish.
Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're diving into something ancient, powerful, and maybe even a little bit controversial.
Pulls the toxins, things like bacteria and fungus that are inside your mouth. And these things cause gingivitis, inflammation.
It's something that big pharmaceutical companies would rather you not know about.
Anything that interferes with their omnipotent need to own and control everything is a danger and will be eliminated.
Yep. But today, we're talking about oil pulling.
There is something that we suggest our guests do, and as a rule, I usually do this every morning, and it's oil pulling. And that's putting a spoonful of coconut oil in your mouth and swishing. Swish for 10 seconds, rest for 10 seconds. The reason it's called oil pulling is for a few reasons. Number 1, it pulls waste out of the tongue. Number 2, it pulls waste out of the glands under the tongue. Number 3, it pulls waste out of the blood vessels under the tongue. But there's 2 other areas that can pull waste, and that is the sinus. I've known people with sinus problems to oil pull, and when they're finished oil pulling, they said they blow their nose quite a bit. It seems to pull up a little bit further. And people with lung conditions, so they've got bronchitis, after they've oil pulled, they cough up a couple of lumps.
And trust me, this isn't your grandma's old school remedy, but, well, actually, it kind of is. And for good reason. It works.
It undergoes a process called saponification, which is the formation of soap. And we know that soap cleans. And so the process behind it is the fact that this oil may clean the oral cavity, clean the mouth, and prevent the development of plaque.
Oil pulling. Sounds fancy? Nope. It's literally swishing oil around your mouth. But don't be fooled by its simplicity. This stuff can pack a punch when it comes to your health.
She digs out a spoonful of coconut oil, swishes it for several minutes, then spits it out. But why?
Immediately after I spit out the oil, my teeth feel sleek and smooth, and my gums look a little bit pinker.
Let's get into why it's got the holistic world buzzing and why some bigwigs in the medical industry may be sweating just a little bit. First off, let's talk about where the magical mouthwash comes from. Oil pulling has its roots in Ayurveda, the ancient system of medicine that hails from India.
There is a very natural and very practical technique in ancient India for full body detox, and that is called as oil pulling. Ayurveda mentions about this oil pulling, and it is recommended in Charak Samhita, Shushruta Samhita, and so on. In Ayurveda, it is called as Kaval Graha Kriya. This technique is believed to help.
We're talking about something that's been around for over 3,000 years. Back then, they didn't have Listerine, right? Instead, they used the natural, holistic goodies that Mother Earth gave them. And guess what? They thrived.
This technique is believed to help in excretion of toxin through saliva to detoxify and purify the entire body.
The idea behind oil pulling is simple. By swishing oil, usually coconut, sesame, or sunflower oil, in your mouth for about 15 to 20 minutes, you're helping to pull out toxins and improve your oral health. Sounds too good to be true, right? Well, stick with me. You're going to love the science behind it. Okay, let's break this down. What happens when you take a spoonful of oil and swish it around like you're preparing for an Olympic mouthwash competition? When you swish oil in your mouth, it interacts with the saliva, and as this happens, the oil begins to emulsify, getting thicker and turning white. This process helps to trap and collect harmful bacteria, toxins, and other gross stuff we don't want hanging around in our mouths. But that's just the start. Oil pulling can do so much more than just give you a sparkling smile.
I've known people to conquer gingivitis, that's infection of the gums, bleeding gums by oil pulling 2 or 3 times a day. It strengthens the gums, it helps to clean the teeth because coconut, when it connects with your bacteria, releases antibacterial elements.
And that's not all. So brace yourselves, this list of benefits is long. I'm talking about things that range from fresh breath to hardcore detox. It's crazy how this one simple practice can have such a ripple effect on your overall health.
Welcome to the new perspective of healing. New, I said, but in reality, it is as old as creation. The subject is healing. You see, it has to be as old as creation because the components that is going to address healing or bring about healing has to be one that is considered native geologically.
Let's start with the obvious ones. 1. Whiter teeth. I mean, who doesn't want a brighter smile without paying for expensive treatments? Oil pulling naturally whitens your teeth without the bleach or chemicals. 2. Fresher breath. Ever been embarrassed about your breath? Yeah, oil pulling can help with that. It reduces bad bacteria in your mouth, which means less funky odors. 3. Reduced plaque and gingivitis. Studies have shown that oil pulling can help decrease the bacteria that cause plaque and gingivitis. And we all know that gum disease is no joke. 4. Detoxifies your body. Here's where everything gets interesting. Ayurvedic tradition suggests that oil pulling doesn't just benefit your mouth, but can also remove toxins from your entire body. And this is where I'm raising an eyebrow at Big Pharma.
All over this country, the American people are asking a simple question. How many people need to die? How many people need to get unnecessarily sicker before Congress is prepared to take on the greed of the pharmaceutical industry? Last year, 1 out of 5 Americans cannot afford to buy the medicine prescribed by their doctor. How crazy is that? Walking into a doctor's office, getting a diagnosis, getting a prescription drug, but you can't afford to fill it.
The pharmaceutical companies hiking the prices of drugs. Martin Shkreli is the former CEO of Turing Pharmaceutical, who's responsible for hiking the price of at least one drug by 5,000%.
Are you going to change the price?
No.
Meanwhile, while Americans are dying or getting sicker than they should because they cannot afford the medications they need, 9 large drug companies made over $58 billion in profits last year. The American people are demanding that Congress listen to their concerns and not cower before the power of the pharmaceutical companies.
Now here's where things get juicy. Why, oh why, don't we hear more about oil pulling from our friendly neighborhood doctors? Well, let me just throw this out there. If a natural, cheap, and effective remedy can help with things like bad breath, gum disease, and overall detoxification, how would the big drug companies make money selling you fancy mouthwashes, pain meds, or endless antibiotics?
The FDA, like all government agencies, got its money from taxpayer dollars. The Prescription Drug User Fee Act made a union between the pharma companies and FDA. Anytime they had a new drug application, they would pay to have it processed. Some of these things cost millions of dollars, okay? So now they have a financial interest. The FDA, right now, I think about close to 70% of their total budget is from drug companies paying to have their drug applications looked at, processed.
That's right. If we started taking better care of our oral health with oil pulling, we might not need as many prescriptions, fancy dental treatments, or over-the-counter fixes. And Big Pharma does not like that one bit.
Pharmaceutical companies have been doing this forever. They've never been honest about stuff. They've always hid information.
They want you to think that health comes in a pill or a bottle, not from a bottle of coconut oil sitting in your pantry.
So who's the real problem here? Is it Sabi or is it some pharmaceutical company that is willing to exploit us?
It's like, here's your mouthwash for $10 that might get rid of bad breath for a few hours. Or you could use this natural remedy that costs a fraction of that and actually detoxes your entire system. Tough choice. All right, let's get to the good part. How do you start oil pulling? It's super simple. Let me walk you through it. 1. Pick your oil. Coconut oil is the most popular because of its antibacterial properties and pleasant taste.
Is coconut oil good for you? I was asked this question when I was giving a presentation to about 5,000 Fijians a few years ago because they had been told that it was bad. And so I asked them a question. Were your ancestors healthy? And then these 5,000 Fijians began to laugh because they were very healthy. And what did they eat every meal? Coconut oil. They have coconut every meal. The coconut has been used for centuries. That because coconut oil is high in medium chain fatty acids, the liver breaks it down to ketones. And he shows that ketones are neurohealers, neuroprotectors. He shows the science behind what history has already shown us, that the South Pacific Islanders endured magnificent health. So the coconut oil is a remarkable oil.
But you can also use sesame or sunflower oil. 2. Take a tablespoon. That's right, grab a spoonful of your chosen oil and pop it into your mouth. 3. Swish, swish, swish. Now, don't go crazy with the gargling, okay? Just gently swish the oil around your mouth, making sure it gets into every little corner. Do this for about 15 to 20 minutes. I know, it sounds long, but it's great for multitasking. Watch TV, check emails, live your life. 4. Spit it out. This part's important. Don't swallow the oil because it's now filled with all those nasty toxins you just pulled out. Spit it into a trash can, not the sink, to avoid clogging your drains. Trust me on this one. 5. Rinse and brush. After you spit it out, rinse your mouth with warm water and then brush your teeth as usual. Now, you didn't think we'd stop at just oil, did you? Let's talk about how to really amp up your oil pulling game. Herbal remedies have been around for centuries and can be used alongside oil pulling to supercharge the effects. You can mix a few drops of essential oils like tea tree, peppermint, or clove oil into your pulling routine. Why? These oils have antibacterial, antifungal, and even antiviral properties.
I do believe it does clean stain off of your teeth and does have some antibacterial and antiparasitic qualities to it, which doesn't hurt things. I've talked to many people who also feel that their gums and their mouth just feel better after you do it.
Imagine what happens when you pair these bad boys with oil pulling. You're turning your mouth into a detox superhighway. And did you know that herbs like neem and turmeric have been added to oil pulling routines in Ayurveda for centuries? Neem, with its anti-inflammatory and antimicrobial properties, can be a real game changer when you combine it with oil pulling. Turmeric is another powerhouse herb, good for reducing inflammation and giving your mouth a nice, natural cleanse. Now, before you go running into your pantry for that coconut oil, let me give you a heads up. The detox process can be real. I mean, we're talking about pulling toxins out of your body, and when those toxins are on their way out, you might feel a little worse before you feel better. Some people report things like headaches, sinus drainage, or even a metallic taste in their mouth after starting oil pulling. Don't freak out, that's just your body doing what it's supposed to do, getting rid of the bad stuff. And let's be real for a second. Nothing worth having comes without a little drama, right? The good news is that once you get past the detox phase, you'll start to notice the real benefits: clearer skin, fewer headaches, better sleep, improved digestion. It's not just about oral health, it's a full body thing. So why aren't doctors telling us about this? Well, I'm not saying that oil pulling is the magical cure for everything, but you have to admit, it's pretty suspicious that a natural, safe, and effective practice like this isn't more widely known. Here's the deal. If we all started using things like oil pulling, Big Pharma wouldn't be able to sell us as many products. Imagine fewer visits to the dentist, fewer expensive treatments, and fewer prescriptions. It's like we'd be taking control of our health, and that's something that might ruffle a few feathers in the pharmaceutical world. I mean, it's like we're saying, thanks for the $20 mouthwash, but I'll stick with my $5 coconut oil. No wonder they're not shouting this from the rooftops. So what do you think? Ready to give oil pulling a try? Whether you're looking for whiter teeth, fresher breath, or a full-body detox, this ancient remedy is a game changer. And just don't take my word for it. There are plenty of studies and personal testimonials out there from people who swear by oil pulling.